because everything's got a system, right? I mean, you've probably already got systems for how to onboard new customers or clients. You've got systems for how to track expenses and make reimbursements. You've got systems for all of the kind of mechanical things in your company. And what often is missing is systems for some of the less mechanical things in your company. So we'll get to that in just a minute or two. Couple of housekeeping things. I want to let you know that in my other show, It Ain't Easy Being a Human, which is a show that I do with Kristen Graham, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, we're going to have a very exciting guest. I'm really honored and excited that Tom Chenault is going to be joining me tomorrow to share with you and with me what each of us can take personally and professionally from 12-step programs. I expect to have fun because Tom is really fun, and I expect to be bettered. I'm going to be bettered during tomorrow's show because Tom is a font of wisdom, and he's going to be joining me to talk about what can the rest of us take from 12-step programs to make it a little bit easier being a human. Another quick announcement, another housekeeping piece of housekeeping. On Friday, this Friday the 5th at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, I'm going to be talking with Jeannie Smith. We're going to be sharing 8 ways that you as leaders can build trust in order to dodge the great resignation. A lot of people are leaving their jobs, have left their jobs, are contemplating leaving their jobs. It is not too late to hang on to some of those people. So today we're talking about systems. I mentioned at the very, very beginning of this live stream, I mentioned the fact, and it's a fact, you've got systems in your company, because if it isn't systematic, then it's haphazard. If it isn't systematic, then it's inconsistent. The reason you've got systems for how you manufacture or how you provide services, you've got systems for how you intake new customers and clients. You've got systems all across your company. And those systems really matter. They help you keep things consistent. And one of the systems that I find is missing in almost every company that I go into, missing from almost every leader's playbook, is a system for this is how we manage people around here. And I cannot overstate how important it is to have a consistent management system. If you don't have a consistent management system, then you don't have consistency in performance from team to team. The how each team performs is going to depend on how each manager decides to manage their people. Are they doing it with their own system? Is the system different from person to person? Does that manager even have any system at all by which they manage people? Or are they managing people by kind of feel? It feels good. It feels like I need to come in and give you some input, right? We don't want to be managing people by happenstance. And if it isn't the same across teams, this is how we manage people around here, then you're going to get inconsistent results across teams. If you don't have a system for how this is how we manage people around here, you're also going to have an inconsistent employee experience. People talk about management style. What's your management style, or what's your leadership style? And I'm all for style, right? The style is good. And style is something that you want to put over top the system. It's want to be how do you implement the system versus how do you implement the system? What are the subtle differences in how each leader, each manager implements the system? That's where style comes in. If you're instead leaving entirely, this is how we manage people around here, to each individual manager's style, then you're going to have an inconsistent employee experience. Some people are going to be more frightened They're going to be frightened of their manager. They're going to be frightened of the uncertainty. I don't know where I stand with this manager. I don't know whether I'm in this manager's good graces. I don't know whether my job is secure. I don't know whether people are happy with my performance. That kind of uh, uncertainty leads to fear, and people who are afraid don't perform well, and people who are afraid start looking other places. So you need to have a system of management in order to have a consistent employee experience. Another thing that happens if you don't have a system of management, because you don't have a consistent employee experience, is that you don't have consistent employee retention from team to team. So if you're leading a company and maybe you haven't done these analytics, but take a look at go look from team to team. Are there teams where people stay long term, year after year? People who work for Janet stick around. They like working here. They keep it up. They stay. Maybe they even recruit their friends. Those people who work for Janet. But over here, the people who work for Gary's got an awful lot more turnover on his team than Janet. Now, it might be chance, right? It may be that Gary's just gotten lucky in that he's hired people who have decided to move across the country, or that he's got people working for him who've decided to change careers, right? It's possible that the difference between Janet, who keeps lots of people, and Gary, who has more turnover on his team, it's possible that that's down to chance, but it's not very likely. If there's anything like a pattern of Janet's people staying and Gary's people turning over, then it's probably a difference between Janet and Gary, and very likely a difference in the way that they manage people. So you need to have a system for how to manage people. The fact is, when we talk about style, there's a science to leadership and management. There's a science to how the relationships and the results are strengthened. And by the way, you may have heard me recommend Manager Tools before. It's a fantastic podcast. They also do training for managers, and they say that every manager has two responsibilities: results and retention, or rather, maybe they say results and relationships. But either way, right? That manager that gets performance out of their team and also gets retention on their team is doing something right. And it turns out that when you do the science, and science is looking at patterns, establishing patterns, and doing some experimentation about what creates those patterns. So there is science now about what makes for effective management, what makes for getting results and getting those relationships that lead to retention. Those three are things that managers concern themselves with. There are behaviors that effective managers have in common with other effective managers. And when you put all those behaviors together and create a rhythm, when you put all those behaviors together and create this is how we manage people around here, then what you have is a system. And so my question for you is, do you have a system? I'm not even talking about, is your system good anymore, right? Or yet. Right now, I'm just looking at, do you have a system so that you've got consistency? And I'm happy to talk. It's not going to be the topic of what I talk about today, but I'm happy to talk at another time. If you want to contact me, or probably if you watch any of the things, if you look at any of the things that I'm putting up, I lay out a lot of these behaviors. If you have a system, then you have consistency. If you have consistency, then you can work to improve the system and work to improve the results. If you don't have consistency, then you're kind of throwing darts blindfolded. So I hope you've got a system for this is how we manage people around here, because there is a science for how to get results for how to have great relationships with the people that you manage. Those two things, results and relationships, also lead to retention because people are proud of the results that they are getting. They're nourished and nurtured by the relationships that they have, and that makes people want to stick around. So I hope that I'm convincing you. If you don't have a system of management in your company, I hope I've convinced you to have a look at some of these metrics from manager to manager in your company. Are there managers who are keeping people? And are there managers who are having more turnover than the others? That inconsistency is very likely due to an inconsistency in how they manage. And have a look at what Janet is doing. Janet is retaining people. Ask Janet, hey, Janet, I noticed that you've got the best retention numbers of all of our managers. You are keeping people. The people who work for you, the people who report to you, they stick around year after year. I want to know, what are you doing? What are you doing that you think? Tell me what you think, Janet. How are you keeping people around here? And then compare that to what Gary's doing. Gary, I want to help you succeed. And I've been looking at the numbers and I've noticed, Gary, that you have more turnover than many of our other managers. And so I'd like to learn from you. What is the system by which you manage people? And this may be an opportunity. This may be a moment, leader, for you to apologize to Gary, to Janet, potentially to every single employee in your company. And an apology is a sign of a very strong leader. So here's what that apology may look and sound like. Folks, we've got a system for how to onboard customers. We've got a system for how to track expenses and how to deliver reimbursements. We've got a system for how to ensure that you get your insurance and other benefits. We've got a system for payroll. We have a system for how to deliver our products and services. We have a system for how we manufacture our products around here. And I've noticed that what we don't have is a system for how to manage you, our people. And what that's led to is an inconsistency in your experience. There may be an inconsistency between the experience of employees managed by Jack and the folks managed by George, and we want to make sure that we get greater consistency. Another source of inconsistency, by the way, that I haven't mentioned yet, is that even if Janet is doing incredibly well, Janet, if she doesn't have a system, maybe the experience of her employees differs from month to month, from year to year, from part of the year to a different part of the year, because Janet's levels of stress maybe change, or how busy Janet is changes. So the experience of her employees, even within Janet's team, is inconsistent over time. So folks, I've noticed that we don't have this system. It's been brought to my attention that leads to inconsistency of your experience, and inconsistency. McDonald's is really successful because it's consistent. So folks, we're going to be implementing a system of management because it matters to me as the leader of this company. It matters to me that you have a tremendously excellent experience, that experience is consistent from team to team and from month to month and from year to year. And I want all of you to be comfortable in that consistency, comfortable in knowing that tomorrow you're going to have an equally excellent experience from the one that you had today. And I also hope that this promise of consistency of experience is going to make you even more comfortable and more eager to help us recruit your friends, the people that you care about, the people that we know are going to be as excellent as you. It's going to help us instill confidence in you that you can recruit your friends with the best, the best in your conscience, knowing that they're going to have an excellent and consistent experience here as well. So that's the apology that there is, that you can lay out, is mea culpa. We haven't had this system. Now we're going to have this system, and I hope that that is going to instill confidence in you. So if I have convinced you that you need to have a system for how to manage people, then feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to talk with you a little bit about what that system might look like. And by the way, you want this system to be simple. I'm not talking about introducing complexity. In fact, I'm talking about eliminating complexity because not having a system is a very complex system. So I'm talking about introducing a very simple system because simple systems get implemented. You can talk to me about that system. You can go to Manager Tools and listen to their podcasts and go through what they call their Hall of Fame casts. Uh, it's absolutely a tremendous system. I don't agree with everything that they put out there, but I will say this: their system is simple, it's elegant, and it is tested. And so if you have no system, then certainly going to Manager Tools for their system of one-on-ones and feedback and delegation. And I think there's one more thing, coaching, right? That's the four elements of their system, very similar to what we do here at the Yes Works. If you do that, folks, I promise you, it is gonna be better. Life is gonna be better. Your ability to attract and retain talent is going to be better. And what happens when you get consistency across teams is you also have a more consistent customer experience. So you have a greater ability to attract and retain customers as well. And we all know that's the point. Without those customers, we don't have business. Without those customers, we have nobody to serve. So in closing, systematize it, right? You need a system. You've got systems for everything else. You need a system for this is how we manage people around here. I hope you have a fantastic day. It's the beginning of the week, Monday. It's the beginning of the month, November 1st. Can you get a system in place before the end of the month? Can you get a system in place before the end of the year? If not, then think maybe that January 1st, that's the moment when every manager around here, every manager in this company is going to be having the same system of management so that we've got consistency and excellence across every team in our company. Thanks for joining me. I'm out.